It's hard for me to put myself in the mindset of other family-owned businesses. Ours is unique, theirs is unique. I think sometimes there's natural suspicion and almost a sense of protectionism of the younger generation that you don't want to see them get hurt or burned if an idea doesn't work out. And yet, without allowing that freedom, I don't think anything really gets accomplished.
I think the key to a family business surviving for multiple generations is to sort of keep it tightly controlled, maybe fewer individuals who really have a clear interest in it. If you only have a passing interest or it's more of a passive investment, I just don't think it works.
I know all the personnel by their first and last name and many of their families. We do have some multi-generation employees as well as cousins and brother-in-laws and so on. It's kind of a word-of-mouth place of employment. People tell their friends about it, recommend that they apply here. And so we have a lot of continuity, a lot of longevity, other than myself. We think that gives us a tremendous edge up.
Jamie O'Brien is an attorney and a professor in the Mendoza School of Business at Notre Dame, where he specializes in family-owned and dynamic middle-market companies.
It's a very good idea to have regular employment reviews for all employees and performance evaluations for management, including family members. Now, the small business owner, the family business owner, may decide to be more flexible with their own children or their own nieces and nephews or grandchildren, but at least if they document employment performance of their relatives, at least there's something to point back to and look to if and when there's a problem.
One of the biggest challenges to a founding generation person or even a third generation person, myself going to the fourth generation, is the difference between fair and equal. And some parents, very well-meaning, don't know how to do fair in any way other than equal shares in the family business because that's their major wealth. And so that becomes very disruptive to people because they go ahead and do the equal shares of stock. And there's children that don't belong in the business. They end up there anyway because of that.
I think a very good assessment has to be made as to the value of the non-family management team. The non-family managers, management team, officers, and just regular daily employees bring value to the company, and an assessment needs to be made as to how much value that is. It seems to me that no one likes to be bossed around, and that there's a perception, and I think rightly so, that someone who has 20 or 30 years of experience should not be bossed around, and I say bossed around in quotes, by a young whippersnapper fresh out of business school, because the real world experience should count for something, and in fact it does count for something in the traditional business model. It's a very significant asset for the business. Once an assessment or a conclusion has been reached with regard to the value of the non-family employees or non-family member management, then the next issue I see is compensation, how to compensate those folks. And compensation isn't just economic. It could be title, it could be some quasi-ownership or phantom stock. It could be additional benefits or opportunities if the business is ever sold, which with a transition from an older generation to a younger generation, I think that non-family member employees and non-family member managers are often concerned about their job security. So some type of employment contract or sweetening of an employment contract or a buyout option or an enhanced retirement package are all opportunities to satisfy from an economic standpoint the needs, if you will, of the non-family members.
In terms of a business owner and how a business owner is going to either exit their business or transform their business in that 5 to 10 year period of time, I see that as a three-legged stool. On the one hand, you need to be assessing the capability of either your current employees or key employees or family members, whoever, in terms of their ability to step into the shoes of the business owner, and not just to maintain the organization, but continue to grow and make sure the long-term viability of that company is there. If you do that assessment and you find that there's gaps there, that you have key employees who maybe aren't prepared to step in, you don't have a family member that's ready to step in and run the business, there's a lot of things you need to do. You might go into a coaching program with some of those people. You might have to go out in the marketplace and hire a successor. You might need to talk to a potential buyer who would step in and continue to run the business. So that's one stool, is doing a succession assessment of the business. The second item is analyzing all the different exit strategies that a company might go through. Could be a merger, could be a sale, could be a redemption, could be an employee stock ownership plan. Just what are those different options? How viable are they? And what sort of steps are you doing to assess which ones are best? The third leg of the stool is to look at your tax structure. Taxes will definitely impact the net dollars that are taken away from a transaction. So it's a necessary element that has to be considered.
Business folklore about family businesses is the first generation creates, the second generation maintains, and the third generation totally screws it up and fritters it away. So I've been a failure in that regard.
So, based on the experience of the Hannay family, Notre Dame's Jamie O'Brien, and UHY Advisors Paul Mueller, the keys to successfully managing a family-owned or closely held business are, first of all, consult independent outsiders for their honest opinion. Create a family atmosphere even for employees who aren't family members, because this gives you a competitive advantage against the big companies in the workforce. Thirdly, establish a performance standards for all employees, especially family members. And fourthly, you don't have to treat all family members the same. Reward them based on their true contributions.